Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is truly an occasion to remember, and I say this with proof. Pune received its first monsoon showers after a long wait today. How beautiful it felt. Also, as we were making preparations all day to attend this wonderful function, getting the right attire and the right attitude and all that, around 1 million humans were walking towards their goal in a single minded pursuit to be with their deity at Pandharpur. This is the ambience in which we are meeting here as like minded professionals and human beings. I have been asked to talk a little about a man who I believe is a Varkari. Yes, I think Christopher Charles Benninger is a Varkari. त्यांच्याच सारखं त्यांचा देखील प्रपंच आहे. त्यांचं काम, त्यांचं ऑफिस, रोजचा घड्याळावरचा खेळ. पण त्याच वारकऱ्यासारखं यांची एक आध्यात्मिक बाजू आहे. एक ध्येय आहे, जे सर्व भौतिक गोष्टींच्याही पलीकडे आहे. त्यात सेवाभाव आहे, भक्ती आहे, माणसांबद्दल अतोनात प्रेम आणि माया आहे. आणि जसा कुठलाही वारकरी आपली पंढरी कधी एकदा येते हे एकमेव उद्दिष्ट डोळ्यासमोर ठेवून ऊन, पाऊस, वारा, तहान, भूक, पीडा याचा विचार न करत चालत राहतो, तसा हा माणूस चालत राहतो आणि अनेक लोकांना आपल्या बरोबर घेऊन जातो. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where Christopher Charles Benninger, the architect, is different, because he brings the essence of life through architecture, of giving to others through knowledge, and to cherish everything that life brings. His three avatars, if I may call it that, are very evident. Number one, as a master architect whose humongous portfolio of work has reached far and wide across the continents, from Kenya to Shanghai, from Burundi to Ahmedabad, from Bhutan to our very own Pune, touching legions of architects and enriching the ground from which these structures sprout forth. Two, as a generous giver of knowledge, as a teacher and as a guru. And third, as an inspiration purely on account of his personality, his kindness, his goodness and generosity of spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, may I take 2 more minutes to give you a recap titled, Who is Christopher Charles Benninger? In 1968, a young 26-year-old architect, 6 feet tall, maybe more, with twinkling eyes, came to India on a Fulbright fellowship. He stayed here for 2 years, studying shelter systems and building up his already existing empathy for humans and housing and architecture. 3 years passed. Everything seemed set for this young American architect. He had finished his post-graduation in urban planning at the hallowed Massachusetts Institute of Technology and his post-graduation in architecture at Harvard, where of course he later taught. Leaving aside his professor's post at Harvard in 1971, he returned to Ahmedabad as a Ford Foundation advisor to the Center for Environmental Planning, of course invited by B.V. Doshi, to jointly found the Faculty of Planning at the one and only CEP University. Friends, I begin with this because India is his Karma Bhumi. And perhaps as we celebrate his Sahasra Chandra Darshan, those 80 fruitful years, the last 50 years of his in this land make him not only an Indian, but a Jnana Yogi. So, to continue, his first avatar as a master architect. His timeless works are many. To name a few, his early institute projects like CDSA and Mahindra United World College, to corporate bigwigs like Suzlon Earth and so many others, to even a housing project for a developer like Loda Belmont Group. We friends, all of us, each one of us sitting here, is witness to the prolific nature of his projects, not to mention the intimacy and sensitivity with which each one is handled so delicately, it directly goes to your heart. From institute to manufacturing, housing to hostel, civic and social to town planning, a building from the board of CCBA Designs holds forth on its own and yet embraces its immediate environment. How wonderful is that? Christopher's second persona as a teacher begins 50 years back as a teacher at Harvard. Today, this man spends more than 52 days in a year engaging with students, young architects, being a juror, a speaker, advisor, lecturer, and a generous giver of everything he has without holding anything back. Hundreds of students visit his home office, India House, every year and go back entranced and invigorated, not only by being around India House, but more so by meeting the occupant. In fact, if you want to know more about Christopher as a homeowner, you must watch his interview taken on the occasion of World Architecture Day, where he comes across as a very proud and somewhat endearing owner of a house that he designed, built, planned, and lives in. All the people, architects and non-architects who have met Christopher, have come across him on many occasions and on any occasions, and all of them know him as a towering personality. Kirti पण मोठी आणि मूर्ती पण मोठी. Those who know him a little better will agree if I say he has a fantastic and natural sense of humor that sometimes and often always enhances the intellectual side of him. All this is possible only because of the right DNA running through his blood. And it may be said that he is as good a professional as he is a human being. Who can speak about legacy and the continuance of a legacy? Only someone who has read, written, seen, heard, experienced life in its myriad colors and flavors. And I'm sure all of you will agree if I say there are arguably very few men who have done what this man has done. Hence, we can safely say that he connects to thousands whom he doesn't even know through his books and writings. I know for a fact that he likes to write handwritten notes to friends, and his books are an extension of himself. If Letters to a Young Architect reflects on the role and direction of architecture in framing a new man, a new person, and a new society in the new millennium, Architecture for Modern India traces India's journey, through his own practice, of course, of 5 decades of economic transformation and social change. What makes a man who is he? Sometimes one wonders. What are the things that make him what he is? Is it also the people that he has met? Maybe there are people whom he has been influenced with. Who are they? Well, the list is long and diverse, but I think they must be mentioned here. Again, just a handful of them. Architects B.V. Doshi, Fumihiko Maki, Buckminster Fuller, Walter Gropius, historian Arnold Toynbee, anthropologist Margaret Mead, and many others. We have read that he has his share of adventure too. It seems, this I read on a website, it seems he has crossed the English Channel by boat, bought a bicycle in Paris, and then cycled 1,500 miles over land to Athens. That's what I read. And I mean, this is fantastic. Coming to the end of my talk, a typical day might find Christopher with his team in the studio, where he still indulges in discussions with his creative bunch of youngsters. Occasionally, he will be in his study, an impressive room with a library and fabulous old world charm. Come evening, he will be in the serene courtyard of India House, either quietly contemplating or with friends, and he and Ram are fabulous hosts. His zest for the day to day, as well as the outstanding, is one thing that I personally have tried to take from this exemplary individual. I'll end by a few words which I feel describe him. They are from Sanskrit. I've tried my best to do it right. So I'll read this out. Please listen carefully. I will translate it also for you. Chandanam Shitalam Loke Chandanadapi Chandramaha. Chandanam Shitalam Loke Chandanadapi Chandramaha, which means sandalwood is cool, it is pleasant, but the moon is more pleasant than sandalwood. And then the Subhashita ends like this. Chandra Chandana yor madhye Shitala sadhu sangataha, which means, but the company of a good person is much more pleasant than the moon or the sandalwood. I'm extremely grateful to the organizers for inviting me here. The Compier ma'am, a lot of appreciation for her. She's doing it so beautifully. And Christopher, thank you very much for all the blessings and all the wishes that have come to me from you and Ram. Thank you. God bless everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The young living legend, utmost handsome, and the genius. A huge round of applause for Professor Christopher Charles Benninger.
You know, when you're asked to come on the stage and speak, suddenly you're at a moment when you're at a loss for words. You know, I've been associated with Professor Christopher Benninger since 1995. Met him in 1993, and it was a transforming moment for me. I think most of you would not know that I was actually studying in Armed Forces Medical College as a medical graduate, just about to become a doctor and serve in the Indian Army. And that's when I came across Professor Christopher Benninger, and it changed my life for better or worse. I always feel, when I look back, that that was the greatest thing which has ever happened to me. And if I have to repeat it again, I would say that I would do it once again all over. To extend what Chandrasekhar Kanitkarji was telling, that Professor Benninger is a Maharishi, I think I found that like long back. And I never found a reason to leave him or to kind of abandon the path that he took, and I followed him. To me, finding your guru or discovering the rishis in the society that we live is probably the most profound moment of one's life. To extend that further, I feel each one of us should feel blessed to have the elderly around us, whether it is in profession or in our families. We must respect them, and you feel that you have got all the degrees of life when you talk to them and their wisdom comes on to you. And to me, this is not once, it doesn't happen once in a month or once in a year. It's like an everyday breakfast discussion for me. So I feel very blessed to have you, Christopher, guide me and to tell me the wise words that shaped me to be a better person today. Thank you very much.
Our chief guest, PCMG, Commissioner Shekhar Singh, Ashok Dhamirkar sir, Swati Bali, Mr. Praveen, and of course Professor Christopher Benninger sir, and my fellow architects and interior designers. I stand before this august gathering of my esteemed professional fraternity, colleagues, and aspirations from whom I have been deriving immense inspiration and very spellbinding and awesome experiences over my 50 years in architectural profession. But before I proceed, I would like to, in advance, congratulate Professor Christopher Benninger for what he is going to get honored by Society Interior Design for his magnificent contribution to the world of architecture. At this moment, I consider myself again very lucky to be with Professor Benninger. I am sharing this dais one more time, the good presence and wisdom with him. Professor Christopher Benninger, an eminent architect whose influence on the world architecture is profound, as is evident by his body of works across the globe. The varied concept, ideas, and philosophies he has enshrined in them are awe-inspiring and in many ways historical. I always call him Maharshi Christopher Benninger. I have been very fortunate to have received appreciation of my skills in designing both interiors and building environments from my early formative years. And I do remember society had recognized almost 25 years ago in Mumbai for my contribution to this noble profession. Maybe in these 25 years I have progressed more or matured more, so I'm here again in Pune for the similar function. I graduated from the esteemed and internationally renowned Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda, and more importantly, under the sterling guidance of Professor Achwal and Professor Pingde, whose teachings and word of wisdom shall, as indicators, shall always be like beacons set in high and prominent position as indicators that pilots me and helps me navigate around portals of meaningful designs, both in concept and in the intricate details the designing demands. This journey from my humble abode in Baroda and through the gates of MS University in my migration to Mumbai and Pune, my Karma Bhumi, and traversing through Navi Mumbai, that too with none other than the great master architect Charles Correa in the early days of planning of the new city. Thereafter, launching my practice in mid-70s and achieving success at the very onset, and fortunately was able to design and conceptualize diverse projects and realize the full potential of the forms and functions of those undertakings. To advance further in this journey, I had a single-minded drive to establish myself in this great city of Pune, that seat of culture, literature, and art and architecture with a rich historical heritage, which I did 25 years ago, and have been fortunate not only to participate in the architectural profession, but also to achieve success and appreciation from my peers and professional seniors, and appreciation from my peers and professional seniors and colleagues. And that today's event to felicitate me, my society, the esteemed and valuable critic of design and champion and promoter of excellence in the field of architecture, is a valued gesture to which I bow in humanity. I thank you, all the presents, my benefactors and inspirators. I love you all. Be safe, be healthy, be happy and prosperous. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, Chandan.
Our next award is for Design Legend. And before we invite our recipient here on stage, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, he's celebrating 55 years of design journey in the industry. Our living legend is here with us. May I please request you all, as he comes here on stage, for a standing applause for the one and only, this prestigious award of our Society Interiors and Design Honors 2K23 goes to Professor Christopher Benninger, one of India's highly decorated architects, having won the Indian Institute of Architects Annual Award for Excellence 6 times, more than any other architect. His well-known award-winning projects are Mahendra United World College of India, the Samudra Institute of Maritime Studies near Mumbai, the Suzlon One Earth World Headquarters in Pune, India, the National Ceremonial Plaza, and the Supreme Court at Thimphu, Bhutan, just to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, what a huge honor as we present the utmost prestigious Design Legend Award to our living legend himself, Professor Christopher Benninger.
It's a great honor to get this award. I must say that I first visited Pune 51 years ago, and I think the city will see now the next 50 years. I'm looking forward to being part of that because everything is changing, in my opinion, for the better. Now, it used to be if we go to Pimpri Chinchwad, we would sort of close the windows and try to look the other direction. But if you go there today, you'll see for the first time a lot of street furniture, urban design on the streets, and it's a changing city. And I find it really nice to do that. And I think the whole city of Pune is transforming for the better. It's an exciting city, it's a design center, it's an academic center. And I think India as a whole is on a great roll forward. I think having our Prime Minister welcomed by the American President and both houses of Congress is a really good sign. So I look forward to everything. And I'm very happy that so many young, great designers are here with me today. I know most of them, and I really honor their work, and they're very inspiring to me also. Thank you.